that's really all I wish to do, because I hate this feeling of trying to defend myself, and that's not what I want to do. Like, deeply, it's not what I want to do, because it doesn't have any sort of benefit for me whatsoever, or you.
Well, if you start to fight taking things personally, then you're going to take that kind of thing in some kind of weird way.
So what do I do?
You start fighting against your defensiveness, then you're not going to be able to express yourself, and you're not going to be able to figure out what's going on with that. There's nothing wrong with expression. I don't know what's going on with you right now in this case. It's just this is the kind of thing that makes me feel like this is a completely unbeneficial event, because it's like you look like you're in a state of like great confusion or something. It's like
I'm just trying to
like
understand.
how is this possible that this person that has been with me for this much time is talking to me in this way? It's telling me these things in this manner. This is where I feel like we're having like a weird overlapping maybe of like romantic courtships and then the teacher-student relationship. I'm unsure.
Maybe if I
I
can
mean, we're
express.
lovers, and maybe there's some kind of interesting thing for myself, though. Angel numbers have come up to where this is absolutely the thing is of the highest benefit. Is something that I also wish to do myself. Very beautiful, wonderful for the process of liberation of all beings everywhere, without one exception, expressing ourselves authentically and clearing through sexual transmutation of our energies and expression of ourselves in every chakra and chord shape and fashion. Of course, I myself am observing this to find out, what's going on with this. Is this something that's beneficial? What's the deal here? And everything is beneficial, yes, absolutely, but to the highest rate of efficiency. So refining constantly through the observation of reality as it is presently occurring. And it can be difficult working with people on all kinds of different levels of realization as we hit places and flows and stagnation or interesting pools of energy that just kind of hang out and loop themselves there in those kinds of strange depressive style frequencies that paint unclear negative realities on everything they see, because that's the way in which they see themselves. And so that can be kind of hard, because you tell one of those people you're the greatest and they say, no, I'm not. And you tell them again you're the greatest and they still won't believe you. You can tell them they're the best, the most enlightened being in the world, and still they don't believe you. And now you talk about one of their insecurities or one of their doubts, their fears, or their judgments, and they do believe you. Except for they don't believe you for what you said in truth with the light part. Remember the part where you said they were the greatest? That part's cut out every time. And so the other part is the only part at all. Even when the entirety of the whole is there. Love, compassion, wisdom, all the sensitivities and fullnesses, impeccability with expression, authenticities, all of those things are present in a loving and balanced manner. It still doesn't matter because that person's not presently giving those things to themselves. And so they're unable to receive that from themselves, this other being that is themselves and looks uniquely different to them. Now, it's an extremely hard chord shape to loop in reality. And for me, when I see this kind of a chord shape looping itself so consistently, every moment almost, a lot, it's happening. And it's very difficult. We can move through it pretty quickly sometimes, and then other times it lasts for a lot longer. I myself get extremely tired and irritated with the flow, and that leads me to express in a cutting manner towards it, and leads us to a place of really extreme discriminating awareness, instead of just breathing and putting it off, not focusing on it, not expressing about it, not figuring it out, and not getting through it. And so we have a constant looping of its cycle. Myself, I have one point of focus, so when something comes to me, I express about it completely fully until it's completely gone away from me. And I'm doing my very best to allow other people the space to do this as well. And it's pretty easy for me to do because it's just simply what I most genuinely wish to do. So it's easy for me. She thinks I don't wish to be here, like she's accosting me and making me a slave to her frequency in some ways at times. But as it turns out, I wish to be around her. I like her. I think she's awesome. I love holding her, kissing her, touching her. I love activating frequency with her. I love her being the videographer. I also love doing videography myself. I feel like I have great camera views and angles that just happen kind of naturally, easily. And I think she thinks a lot and doubts herself a lot to make herself a little more difficult, but that she also has a phenomenal artistic focus to the camera angle and viewpoints and all the things that she does in those ways. And I do wish that she could see how incredibly intelligent, capable she and is seen to be, and what a valued member of the team she consistently is. I know that I could tell you guys this in much more beautiful and amazing, harmonious, phenomenal fashions, and I've even said these things constantly to her. It seems as though it doesn't matter if I say these things. At this time, it seems I could say these things a million times over and over and over again repetitively for the next 500 years. And it would seem as if I was just simply making up for some other thing or whatever, backtracking, pedaling forward, forcing something, pressuring in some way, I don't know. And really just somehow confirming the opposite, which is odd. I tell her, that we're looking at things like a scientist. The information comes in really beautifully. While we're giving a channel and a teaching, she, I guess, has felt judged or something in some way. She comes in to say that I was inaccurate with the information which I was transferring, and then to give me the transferring of the information accurately. I inform her that we'll check and see, because I'm unsure now, because she's told me that I was incorrect in such a confident manner that I have no reason to fight her and say that I'm not incorrect. I probably could be. Sure, why not? And so she said I'm correct now, but we both don't know whether that is true or not. She said once that she knew it was the other, and now she's saying that she thinks it's, but I don't know. So I don't know how she would know.
I'm sorry, I thought you were referring to the way that I came into this video, like just now.
Oh, no, earlier with the
I'm sorry then.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be hard to hear what's being said when we're thinking about things that have happened very recently and that were quite disturbing to us, that are still hanging out with us because we're having trouble figuring them out, which is why they're hanging out. They hang out until we figure them out, or until we can put them off well enough to need consciousness to show them us again, to show it to us again in a way that we can't turn away from the next time, or that we won't turn away from, or whatever, that we'll be able to get through, And it's beautiful. Really wonderful. I'm kind of confused as to what's even happening right now. I don't even know how we got to this place in focus. Because we were doing so good. I thought we came through all these amazing energies. You went to the bathroom. I mean, you were feeling sick. You felt sorry.
I just had to say something to
And
myself.
then you had to come over here.
I just had to say something to myself, myself being you at the time. I'm sorry that I confused you, but I realize that everything that I say is actually, just how I'm feeling. And so how can I say anything that's actually wrong? That's what I answered to myself just now, is because I'm trying to still control the way that I'm saying things, even if it's a personalization, but I realize that I have to say it in order to go through it. And so I'm sorry that I made you confused just now, but I think that it was just something that I had to go through to see myself, like what it actually does when I doubt myself so much and doubt what I have to say, and that the communication of the communication is so confusing that it kinks everything up. And so I'm sorry. I realize that everything that I say is exactly what I'm meant to say, as long as I'm saying it honestly and so thank you for reminding me of that. I'm learning it step by step by myself, just trusting myself more and more that what I have to say is actually, you know, what I have to say, you know. So I'm sorry if I led you to a state of confusion. I just had to explain something to myself, I guess, show myself a play of some kind of my own doubt and confusion of seeing it just here in this moment. I do feel like I've moved through a lot of big things to say today, and I'm sorry that I'm coming at you in this weird place, but I also feel I don't know, maybe like I'm still working through it in a way, still practicing in a way with my expression and everything, and so thank you for listening and showing me of my insecurities and I can see myself quite clearly thanks to you. So be more loving to myself. Starting by drinking water and taking a bath, that felt really good to me to go and do that. And then I felt almost bad that I did that. That's why I came back out to tell you that I'm sorry that I taken time for myself, when you're in the middle of a channel and it was like partially about me, even though you went into the direct practice, I thought that it might be a good moment for me, but I realized that I can take care of myself, and I should love myself because no one else is gonna do it for me, It's gotta be me, so thank you. You think this is an okay time for me to leave?
I mean, anytime that you want to leave, it's an okay time for you to leave. I mean, why do you want to leave? Do you want to leave right now because you're tired of talking, or just because you just want to go?
My vagina hurts and I want to pee.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
I'm not tired of talking. I just feel like I've expressed everything.
Yeah, I wonder if I have anything to express about it. I don't know. I mean, you seem to move through that pretty good. Some way. It doesn't seem like it's been moved through all the way. It seems like some kind of place of satisfaction and comfortability has nestled itself in there to distract away from the possibility of transmuting the entirety of the looping frequency, which for me is a big thing. I'm a very serious person. This is something we're coming into, very serious, very focused, very disciplined, very play, but very everything in a big way. Takes a lot to refine into this kind of a discipline of focus. It doesn't look like there's a discipline, but people find that different. Now there's the story, Everything I say to you, what you don't know how to express to me. Is this how you feel forever, or what's going on?
Just today.
Because this is what you've come over today. Right now, we're making videos. We're 3 hours and 50 minutes, and you've decided right now that the time for you to tell me that I do nothing but make you feel as if you can't express yourself, and that all you do is personalize everything, is now at this time. I think that's an odd time to do this. But it's obviously the greatest thing of perfection. You see, I haven't rejected it or repelled away from it or any of these things. I have to say, this observance, it's strange. It's like you come in here like to sabotage the thing or something. I'm like, what are you trying to do?
No,
what is she up to? What is she doing? She's saying, she's like, oh, as it turns out, I feel like I can't express around you at all, and all I ever do is personalize things from what you say or something. And I was like, what? I was like, this is crazy.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe somebody just said that shit to me. I can't believe that. I've been sitting here working so hard. We've been working so hard. We've been doing so many things, bringing so many teachings through.
That it would bring something.
Like, I don't understand. You know, like, what was that?
I didn't mean to attack you in any way or sabotage the video. I just thought.
No, I didn't think so either. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just talking about something. You know, we don't have to be all upset or anything. We've already moved through the entirety of that expression. We're now just talking about my perception of the things that occurred. Is it okay for me to express as well? I mean, obviously I've been expressing. You don't express as much as me. I understand that. But it's like, you know, you express something, you know, I could have immediately been like, how dare you, or some crazy thing or whatever, but I didn't do that. I just listened to you like, okay, you know, whatever she says, no problem. We continue recording the entire thing, you know, not a big deal. I mean, it just sounds a particular way. It's not very good for me, you know, what's going on with this thing. And this isn't a normal thing either. I'm quite surprised, you know. It's an interesting thing. It reminds me of earlier, something else similar to this. What was it? Oh yeah, on the bus. On the bus. That's when you wanted to talk about things. She gets real expressive in places where it would cause me dissonance or agitation or disharmony in my frequency. A very not compassionate thing, but in another way, a very compassionate thing, because there's the greatest embodiment of wisdom. Typically, what it causes me to do is stray away from something, because I could see, oh, this being is going to cause me trouble within the community and society because they're unable to see what's going on with themselves so much to where they're going to cause me to have to express towards them. They're going to take from me in such a manner and form. I can't believe it. They're going to make me yell at them in front of people just because they're doing some weird shit with their energy towards me and I'm just a gateway of emptiness. How dare they send energy into me and make me look this way? Like, what? So I just, instead of having that happen, I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this. And I'll say that very accurately, very authentically out loud in front of people. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. You're not going to make me do this, you know. Or sometimes it has no choice. If I begin the expression, I don't have a choice. I have to keep going. I've been yelling and yelling and yelling with people for long periods. I wanted to say hours, but for long periods. In front of many people in a community, you know, they really destroying any kind of self-image I could have had in the community, which was actually a great breaking of ego and identity with the community in a giant manner. It was actually a huge freeing of my frequency, so I have to say, not too bad, but it doesn't feel always very comfortable. And so, today at the bus, I wasn't going to yell for the next 40 minutes with her on the bus just because she wanted to discuss quietly something. I don't know. And at that moment, in that way, while she was personalizing and changing the context of the chord shape, again, you know. And because we come to the fruitions of information, meaning we come to an impeccability and an understanding, and then we come to a place in which we've expressed accurately the information that was occurring, and then it becomes different information afterwards, I find myself in states of confusion as to what's happening in some sense. And this could be seen as doubt in some way or something of this manner. But really, it's just something that brings a particular focus and expression. And so as that focus comes in and begins expressing, phenomenal wisdom unfolds. And so we learn something really great. Now, we've been learning a ridiculous amount for a long time. I told her to take in consideration that most people can't actually hang around me and actually grow with me at the rate and acceleration in which I'm able. Of course, she said that she's able and that she wishes to, and she constantly says this, and she really does wish to, apparently. But other times she expresses things like this, which, no big deal. They're really wonderful, amazing, perfect expressions, actually, so... and they're always perfectly timed with what's of my highest benefit too, even if I don't realize quite as to why. But I'm always in the whole not knowing thing, you know. It's the vulnerability of being in the present moment. So, and you know, some people want to break in and talk and say whatever they want while I'm talking, but you know, she's raising her hand now twice, and I was talking about something. I don't know. I mean, I guess Now it's time for her to say something. I'm talking about her. It makes sense that she knows something to say. Maybe we're competing with the audience to see what's going on now. Now that we're talking with another group of people, it's possible that could happen. We got to figure out who's going to win the audience's approval. But I don't care for that myself. As you can tell, I pretty much, in some way, socially can ostracize or destroy my ability to even be perceived as a wisdom being by the way in which I have no choice but to express around all kinds of manner of people due to the energies that are hitting me constantly, and eventually you all see that stuff too. But I do always express in a pretty impeccable and balanced way, even when it does seem to have a harshness. There's always an amazing intelligence and a fullness, and because I don't really have a rigidity that holds to a form, nothing can really confront me or accost me in a certain manner, so you can't really trigger me, so I can actually be a very violent seeming energy to an energy that has a control mentality, because they're unable to control me, and that can be very difficult for somebody who likes control. And it's tough to win against me, too, because I really just don't stand on anything with such affirmity unless it's actually the most sturdy thing, like unconditional love for all beings separate without one exception. Then, you know, um, you know, I'm the most sturdy thing around. If you don't compete, you'll have no competition. This will make competitors extremely pissed off because every time they try to compete, they will feel as if they lost because nobody's won. But that's an interesting thing. We can transmute all of these things through resting into fearlessness and just expressing ourselves authentically through whatever chord shape and feeling we're ever going through. And so I'm a big promoter of the expression of frequencies, especially the personalizations of frequencies. Now, I do get tired of being interrupted during a flow because of personalization. So if you do interrupt my flow because you personalize an information, and you do that a lot, I will begin telling you that you're doing it. Because it's fucking me up. And I love myself. And so, like, if there's like a guy on my back while I'm running a race with other people, and he's like fucking heavy. I mean, at first, I might just like be kind of confused and interpret the information like, why did this man climb on my back? But as I begin to understand that he's heavy, and that it's starting to weaken my legs, and that I need to run a race, and that it's going to be completely impossible, and also that I just need to move or just do anything without a man on my back, that's when it's going to become increasingly necessary for me to discuss something with this man in some kind of a manner, and in a way that shows him how serious I am about it. So it's not just like, hey bro, what you doing today? He's on my back while I'm doing this, like, oh yeah, I'm just chilling. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it is cool. Planning on doing anything else? No, I think I'm just gonna chill. Plan on going anywhere else? No, this place I'm gonna go. Sir, I think what I'm trying to say is you need to get the fuck off my back before I jump into the air so high that we oscillate in a manner that sends your face straight into the ground with me on your back. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me get off you, sir. Let me get off you as soon as I can before this occurs. Now, I'm not saying you have to threaten people or anything like that, but you can tell them how serious it is. You can be like, at this moment, because you're on me, I feel like doing the worst of things in the world to make sure you get off of me with the fastest amount of time possible. Now, that's an insane, violent, aggressive frequency, but that may be the authentic way in which you're feeling in any moment. And you may find that if that's the exact expression of your authenticity, that's actually a wisdom of non-action, and that it's a weird algorithmic key that actually opens up everything in your frequency and every being around you in the most radiant fashion possible. And that seems insane. That's because the world's not working on, love and light versus hate and fear. It's working on an equanimic frequency that everything that is just simply here authentically, really, actually, truly, as it is, without extra or less, is like the most groovy shit. It really helps unskew the view, bring it to greater literality of what's actually here specifically occurring. I'm about this kind of thing. I'm about impeccability, I'm about being able to determine every energy. I think it's odd when one thing happens and now the rest of the context of our life is completely gone. I'm like, so this experience happened, and this experience happened, and this experience happened, but then this experience happened. And so these experiences have no longer happened, and now this is the only experience that has ever happened. Ever. Well, how the fuck are you gonna figure out life like that? I mean, don't you need like all the information that brought you to here to even get you to be able to see what's happening here? Blinders. You know, like when we personalize something, we jump into an attack or defense. We jump into a story. We start to believe in that story. We start to create things that make this story make sense. We start to tell ourselves reasons why this story makes sense. Personalizing, identifying with it, empowering and enabling it, continuing the illusory reality and the perpetuation of it by agreeing with it. Now, when this happens so consistently, it's obvious, like, for certain reasons as to why it may be happening. If you watch it happen enough, you might figure out, oh, this is self-judgment, this is self-doubt, this is that, this is projection of that, this is this. And if it happens a lot, and you express about it in a way of great impeccability constantly, but it constantly catches you up. Now, I can understand if it happens in a way that doesn't catch you up. Cool. No problem. But what if it happens in a way that catches you up and doesn't fix itself? It's like if you found out your shoe was untied and you tripped on it, and you got back up, and you tripped on it again, and you got back up, and you tripped on it again, and you'd be like, and you just kept doing that. Never tying the shoe. You even look at the shoe and knew that's the reason why you were tripping, and you just kept tripping on the shoelace anyway. Maybe until you die, I don't know. I mean, you just keep doing it. But you know how to even tie a shoelace. Like, you even know how to tie one. Like, you can do it. You've done it before. You've even had people do it for you. You've been doing it for a long time. But for some reason this time, you just keep tripping on it. I don't know what that's about. Like tripping on it. I don't know. Somebody come up to tell you, oh, hey, bro, you're tripping on your shoelace. And you're like, yeah. Yeah, you keep doing it, too. Like, every moment. Every damn moment. Whoa. That's harsh. Most people aren't doing things that crazy loopingly, like this dog BD that I was seeing that was like going crazy on this rock. But it's also an amusing expression of one point of focus, but like to an extreme extent, kind of like Zen style, where they eventually have to release their attachment to non-attachment and come back. Yeah. So, you know, it can be very difficult. Moving through personalizations, moving through stories, moving through illusory realities, moving through all kinds of things. People want to interject, they want to jump in, they want to say this, they want to. I don't like competing for airtime. Why? Because I've already given up all of myself and I'm completely empty. I've given up all my choices and my pleasures and my privacy and all those things, and here I stand vulnerably, spontaneously, without hesitation, as the entirety of consciousness exuding itself through a singular frequency without resistance. Which is kind of an amazing, phenomenal reward style, but just like how impossible, almost like how is there an Earth out here? You know, like kind of like that, impossible in the realms of consciousness. It's quite special. I'm great, you know, happy with myself. You have no idea the insecurity, anxiety, portals I had to move through, doubts and worries and all those shit. And I didn't have anybody that had done it around me before to help me center and guide me. I didn't have that, but I had exactly what I needed because I am strong. I am insane strong. I am a sturdy motherfucker, you know. And that strength that I'm talking about comes from my heart. It comes from marrying the male and the female, and forgiving all of myself, and accepting all of myself, and loving all of myself unconditionally, and welcoming all of myself back into me with unity, and not taking preference to any one of the frequencies, and allowing that myself to exist as an eternal hollow bone. You're like, but here you are talking about this self. Well, that's all there is to self. You can disidentify with yourself if you wish. You know, If you say that you, as in just that human body, is yourself, well, you'd be mistaken because you are actually every human body and every being entirely in the most amazing, phenomenal forms and fashions that you could ever believe, the most amazing, limitless gateway of emptiness that you could ever wish to see, you know. So, you know, people aren't sure what they're doing, but, you know, I've come to surety. But it can be difficult, you know. People want to compete with me. I tell them, hey, you know, law of impermanence says this. Hey, the Tao says that. Hey, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, this is the Tao's teaching there. I'm not sure. Oh, hey, you know, you maybe want to. Oh, hey, you know, maybe that. Oh, well, maybe. Oh, okay. But you came here to be my student. You wanted me to be your teacher, your master. You wanted me to give you direction and help you in life flow with a greater fluidity. Well, I've been very soft. I've been kind of barely, you know, I've been doing that in a very loving fashion. And now I can see that one occasion where we both existed together, uh, it's caused me such a stagnation in my flow that there's been a strange agitation, reverberation for me personally, you know, in the track of my flow of my life. Of course, this was a perfection because I do never make a mistake or a wrong, and nothing ever does. But it created such a friction and agitation within me that an expression was there on the surface and it had to be expressed through me. And I mean, it always makes me kind of sad because I'm pretty neutral about it. You know, I don't really have an attachment. I don't really feel like the necessity to do things like that. But I have been given the compassion or the skillful means necessary to implement the wisdom that is my being in a way of balance with everything entirely, which is myself, actually. So if I love myself, I want to play ball. And so I've been playing ball for a long time now. And this ball was obvious, you know. I have to express this or I'm going to fucking die or some other terrible, insane deflection. But the only way to get through this is through expressing honestly and authentically from where we are, which was a place of great irritation. And I didn't express her immediately because my first expression was to get the fuck away from her and be just mad, cuss at the air and shit. Damn it. How is this happening again and again and again and again? To where I'm like, hey, this is a thing. They're like, no, it's not a thing. I'm like, yes, it is. And